Welcome. I'm Kathy Bushkin-Calvin. I'm actually the chairman of the Internews board, and I'm proud to serve in that role and proud to see all of you here tonight. I bring greetings from Pat Mitchell, my co-host for the evening, and she's so sorry she couldn't be here, and she wanted to extend a special congratulations and thank you to you for being here. I'm also a trustee of the museum, so I hope you're enjoying being here. We just opened two months ago, and it's already becoming a must-see in Washington, D.C. And I look at this amazing view behind me. I feel like I'm George Stephanopoulos doing the Sunday show out of here right now. It's quite an experience being up here. So I want to thank all of you for coming, and I'm going to be able to introduce our first honoree of the evening, my friend Ted Leonsis. When we first asked Ted if he would consider being honored tonight, all of the stars seem to come together. Ted has done so much to bring new awareness of the power of communication, first on the internet and then in building a fan base, and now taking it to the developing world and into film. He's really shown that communications is not limited to any one particular kind of communication, but really is about bringing out the power of people's individual voices, and that's really what Internews is about. So his mission and our mission are completely aligned. I think you all know the incredible role Ted played at AOL in bringing America online during the 1990s and really building the internet into the powerful force that it is today. Ted was an incredible player in the early vision of AOL and in its continuing growth and power. And he's also a committed philanthropist. I think you all know how much he's done in this community. And you probably know what he's also done in the film community. He's now a filmmaker, and he's even coined the term filmanthropy, based on his having created 2 films that take the power of that communications form to tell stories and motivate people to take action. The first being his film, award-winning film, Nanking, about the Japanese invasion of Nanking, China, and a second film called Kicking It, which is a documentary about the homeless people who were changed forever through an international soccer competition. If you haven't seen either film, you'll understand when you see them why filmanthropy is such an empowering new word for what we do today in terms of catalyzing action on important issues. More importantly, Ted is, I think, inspiring to all of us. Everybody who's ever worked with Ted knows that he can challenge us to do better, he can challenge us to have fun, and he can challenge us to think about new challenges that we haven't even taken on ourselves. You probably all know Ted once created a very infamous and famous list of 101 things he wanted to do before dying. He's at 71 already. One of them wasn't winning the International Media Award from Internews, but it's okay. We came close to several on his list for philanthropy. But you should all take a look at it. It's a very important list in terms of thinking about what you want to get out of your own life. So I want to thank Ted for being with us. I want to honor him and turn over his award. So Ted, if you'll join me. So for Ted's work engaging global audiences through his socially conscious films, as well as his pioneering work to connect people worldwide through internet technology, Internews is proud and pleased to present Ted Leonsis with a 2008 Internews Media Leadership Award. Ted?
Thank you very much. I said yes because Kathy said it starts at 5:30, you don't get everybody out by 7:30. Not your typical Washington, D.C. event. It is a very powerful symbol to have this great museum, which really is founded on the premise that Thomas Jefferson really injected into our democracy, which was about transparency. Thomas Jefferson's definition of transparency was that if people in a town village could get together and watch what people were doing and think it's okay, then it was okay. And that was his concept of the founding of what news and the way that we should be allowed to communicate, and frankly the way that we should be allowed to question what people in power were doing. And when I first heard of what this great organization was doing, I thought, what a perfect organization for the time. There's so many bad things going on in the world, but we're living in this time of hope and opportunity because of the internet. And I think the internet can do more to allow common people to tell stories, to bring news, to bring information to a global audience. I think that many of us are very, very committed to trying to use the pixels on people's machines to the good. I will launch on June 17th a new business. It'll have a double bottom line. We want to do well while we do good. I believe that people who make films, there's some filmmakers here, the Fines, who did this unbelievable movie called War Dance. This movie deserves to be seen by millions and millions of people around the world. The physical distribution of that film is very difficult, and frankly, the business model around it is broken. And so I want to try to fix that, and I want to tap into the power of people wanting to do good. And the easiest way to do that is not to ask for people's time or people's money, but to have them donate pixels on their screen. If we can open TV boxes or movie theaters on people's blogs and MySpace pages and websites, and then digitize all of this great work, I think that we can have millions and millions of people displaying this kind of work. And so I'm committed to trying to help people all around the world bring their message out, and I couldn't be prouder to be recognized by this organization, which is so fundamental in getting everyone to believe that they can watch, that transparency is important, and that what they have to say really matters. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Jerry Hirsch, and I'm with the Lodestar Foundation. We are a long-term fan of Internews. And I am here tonight because I've been given the pleasure to introduce the next honoree, Marion Proto. Marion has been, as a reporter and as an author, and worked as a film producer, documentary film producer in the area of culture, science, immigration, and politics. She recently authored a book, In Search of Hope, The Global Diaries of Marion Proto, which introduces readers to everyday heroes from around the world who she met while she was writing her monthly column in Glamour magazine. Marion also wrote a book, A Mighty Heart, about the kidnapping and murder of her husband, Daniel Pearl, who was a reporter with the Wall Street Journal. And Marion has donated his laptop and his passport to the museum, which is on display here in the World News Gallery. I had just a pleasure of meeting Marion earlier this evening, and she's absolutely a remarkable person. She's remarkable in her refusal to give in to the hatred, and her ability as a journalist and as a role model to inspire others towards tolerance and understanding. She's a very, very courageous reporter who has left all threats undaunted in the work that she does around the world. For her dedication to international reporting and commitment to spreading a global message of hope, it is my deep honor to present Marion Proto with the 2008 Internews.
Such an introduction, I can only disappoint you now. So thank you very much. It's a great honor to to receive this award here. I haven't had the chance to visit the museum yet, but you know, I know of its exhibition, and it's there's a lot of work here. You know, it's dedicated to people whose work I admire greatly, including my husband Dan. I think also this museum is a place that reminds us of all the people that are still today leading such difficult, dangerous, and also very meaningful life to defend the freedom of the press in the world. So, you know, to me it feels sometimes like they are defending the freedom of the press, which means defending democracy, so the rest of us can happily take it for granted, you know. And so for the rest of us, journalists who live in, I'm going to say established democracy, considering the environment, you know, I think the very important question is, what do we fight for, right, since we have the freedom of the press established? And are we capable of not only asking questions to people in power, but also questioning ourselves about our work? And I don't know of any great journalist that skips that part of the work. So for me, when my husband died being a journalist, I felt that I could not keep living being a journalist without knowing why I would do so. And the one experience that I had in the world over the last 10 years was that I have witnessed a lot about fear and how it is paralyzing our world and how it's gripping our world. And I think I have observed how fear operates, how efficient it is, and also how media savvy it is. And I felt like, you know, I had this reflection that, you know, fear really breeds on ignorance. And it is our work as journalists to inform people, enlighten people, educate them. It's also fear of the unknown. It's also our work of journalists of, you know, venturing in those territories and making the unknown more intimate to us. It's fear of other people, and I think strangers cease to be strangers when we get acquainted to them and we do journalism with some kind of empathy in our work. So I felt like, you know, to me it was clear from there on that journalism is probably the best tool to combat that fear and empower people. And that's all, it's a great tool. It's our privilege, it's also our responsibility. The other thing I identified as vital and that I would, you know, kind of dedicate my life to, and also why I would keep doing journalism, is the question of hope. So now when I say hope, I just want to be very clear that I'm not talking about positive thinking, because it depresses me. Positive thinking depresses me. It makes me very nervous too, and also I think that, you know, it's not powerful enough to answer the, you know, the questions that we have to deal with. So my last work as a journalist was this profile of women around the world over the last 2 years. I've met, you know, I've profiled maybe like 22 people all over, from the North Pole to the South Pole. And what I was looking at was people that have undertook like a personal revolution, that had kind of mustered that kind of hope in themselves, and they had changed the life of thousands of other people as a result. And my premise was that everything that doesn't work in the world has been man-made. And so I didn't want a divine answer. So I thought, you know, if it's man-made, then maybe, you know, the solution is going to be women-made. And that's exactly what happened, you know. And so I chose to profile women. And they're very different. They go from like one cleaning lady to the suburbs of France to a president. And truly I have found that the kind of hope that can give hope to others, does change the world, is, you know, has nothing to do with race, religion, color, wealth. It really is, you know, part of humanity. And it is our responsibility also as journalists to show that, not only what doesn't work, but also what works. And, you know, I felt like they were very humbling to me, because these women have gone through every possible, you know, struggle, everything. And they come out, and I think they give us a new definition of hope, which is very very distinctly linked to meaning, giving a meaning to your life. And I do feel that, living a meaningless life is the worst fate possible. So anyway, all this to say that that was my quest as a journalist, to kind of show that this process that I call a human revolution, thinking that we had all kinds of revolution, political, industrial, information, and the one big revolution. It's so good to talk about revolution, in front of Capitol Hill, but that's what I think, but the one revolution that needs to be led is the human revolution, and I think that it's out there. It's just for us to look at it. So. That's what I want to do. That's what the kind of stories I want to talk about. And also, in the end, what you learn from it is that that truly about the fear aspect is there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marion. I'll be in touch.